Good day, dear students. Today we are going to present the video lesson. So this video lesson was done at Karapak State University as the Faculty of Foreign Languages by Musayif Abish. So this video lesson is designed for grammar course on the topic prepositions. So before starting our lesson, I want to introduce the plan which we are going to talk about. Today we will talk about prepositions. So at the beginning of the lesson we'll have a listening task. Then we'll talk about the usage of prepositions. Then, in order to consolidate what we have learned, we'll do exercises. So, prepositions. Prepositions express a relation in space between two or more entities. So relation in time between two events or various other abstract relations such as instrument and cause. A preposition refers to the word or phrase which shows the relation between one thing or with another one, just a preposition link nouns, pronouns, and the phrases to other words in a sentence. Prepositions is used in the relation, just related when we want to indicate place or time, feeling, and other relations like instrument and cause. So here given examples. Relation in place and time. We waited at the bus stop for 10 minutes. Here preposition at indicates the place and the preposition for express time. Are you worried about your exam? As you see here, preposition about express the feeling. How do you are you worried about your exam? The next one, example, the girl stabbed the burglar with a knife. So here preposition with is used as instrument. Okay, before talking about prepositions, let's do a listening task. Okay, you see here notes. Here will be a conversation between a teacher and a student about about training course. So here given spaces, which you should fill in the gaps by listening. Okay, let's listen the recording, tape recorder, and to try to write all to fill in the spaces, gaps.
Come in, Sarah. I do apologize for keeping you waiting. Would you like a cup of tea or coffee? Oh, that's very kind of you, but I'm fine, thanks. Okay. Now, I just want to run through a few questions with you. Firstly, why have you applied for this course? Well, I've always been interested in teaching, and I've just finished my first degree at Stanford University, so I'd like to gain a teaching qualification. Right. And can you explain your reasons for choosing our college specifically? Well, that's easy. My brother lives in the city, and I'm hoping for a place on this course because then I'll be able to share a flat with him.
Oh, I see. So there isn't anything about our course that attracts you?
Oh, I didn't mean it like that. I was really impressed with the description of the course in your prospectus. I haven't applied to the other university in the city because their course didn't appeal to me as much.
Ah, that's interesting. Can you say a bit more about what interests you about this course?
Well, I like the structure of it and the fact that all the focus in the first term is on theory. I like the idea of learning about teaching before being asked to do it. Do you see what I mean?
Yes, and it sounds like a good reason to apply for our course. Have you talked to anyone who has done this course?
Yes, my friend did it last year. She warned me about all of the hard work, but that's okay. I expect to work hard.
Excellent. Now, do you have any concerns about the course?
Well, I must admit there are some aspects of the course that I'm a bit scared of.
Oh, what are they?
Well, you can see from my application form that I'm not very good at maths. Will that cause me any problems?
Well, that's very honest of you, but there is no need to worry about that. It's not important for this course.
Oh, that's a relief. But the thing I'm most worried about is the classroom practice.
Well, most people are frightened of being in front of a class for the first time, but the tutors will help you to feel more confident.
I haven't had any real experience of teaching, and I'm worried about not being able to control a class, and the pupils being rude to me. If they shout at me in class, I'm not sure what I'll do.
That's a common worry, but you will be taught how to deal with those things by the tutors on the course. In the end, of course, you have to take responsibility for what happens in your classroom, but you will be much better able to cope after training.
Well, that makes me feel a bit better. Thanks.
Right. Well, I don't want to make you late for your train. Thank you for coming, and we'll be in touch soon. Bye.
Okay, dear students, could you manage the task? Okay, let's check how did you do the task. So in the notes here, at first, here given the reasons for applying for this course, and she mentioned about she has been always been interested in teaching. In the second one, here given some reasons for choosing our college. Specifically, she can share accommodation with her brother. The next one, she was impressed by descriptions of the course in this prospectus. She is keen on learning about teaching before doing it, and here given expectations for the course. In the sixth one, here we should use the verb warn. A friend warned her about the hard work. Next one, for the eighth, she feels she is not very good at math. For ninth, he has no experience of teaching. For 10, she is worried not being able to control the class. And the last one, she is unsure what to do if people shout at her. I hope all of you did your best correctly. Okay, here called prepositions used in different structure. As you see here, prepositions is used with adjectives, verbs, nouns. And let's move to the next task. So here we are going to talk about the usage of prepositions. So all prepositions can be used with verbs, adjectives, and nouns. Now at first let's look through the verbs which follow preposition. Verb plus preposition. First, the verbs care, complain, hear, now, learn, say something, talk, think, warn, wonder, worry, write. These prepositions usually followed by preposition about. Next, aim, fire, laugh, look, point, shout, yell. So after these verbs we use at. Choose, decide, differentiate, distinguish. We use after these verbs preposition between, choose between something or distinguish between something. Next one is aim, apologize, apply, forgive, hope, long, prepare, search, wait, watch, and wish. So according to up to the meaning, we can use preposition for after these verbs. After the verbs learn, prevent, stop, we usually use from. Assure, convince. We use after these verbs of. Concentrate, count, depend, insist, rely. So you see here these verbs is used with preposition on. Apologize, explain, present, speak, talk, write. Apologize to or explain to somebody, present to, talk to somebody, write to somebody. And the big deal, go out, play, stay, these verbs followed by preposition with. We don't usually use a preposition with marry. For example, she married him last year. So the verbs of saying and thinking are often followed by about when we want to indicate the topic. Some verbs of saying and thinking, like discuss, debate, consider, mention, don't need the preposition. Some verbs of saying are often followed by to plus person to show the speech is directed at. For example, have you talked to anyone who has done this course? We use at plus person or saying after some verbs, like aim, fire, laugh, look, point, shout, yell, in order to show who or what is the focus of the verb. We often use for after verbs that shows desire to introduce the thing we want. For example, I'm aiming for a good mark in the next assignment. We use to after aim, hope, long, if they are followed by a verb. Okay, adjective plus preposition, anxious, annoyed, concerned, depressed, excited, upset, worried. These prepositions use preposition about. Amazed, annoyed, astonished, awful, bad, clever, excited, good, skilled, surprised, terrible, useless, followed by at. Amazed, annoyed, astonished, concerned, disturbed, excited, impressed, inspired, shocked, surprised. These adjectives usually is used by preposition by. Bad, concerned, good, responsible, plus for. Disappointed, interested, plus in. Frightened, scared, terrified. After these adjectives we usually use of. Aware, clever, cruel, generous, good, kind, mean, nasty, nice, polite, rude, selfish, true, typical, kind. After these adjectives we usually use of. Cruel, good, kind, mean, nasty, nice, polite, rude, and kind. These adjectives followed by to. Okay, next verb is annoyed, bored, concerned, disappointed, fed up, impressed, obsessed, pleased, satisfied, wrong. So you see here these verbs are usually used with preposition with. So adjectives talking about ability are often followed by at. For example, I'm not very good at math. Some adjectives describing fear can be followed by preposition of. We have adjectives describing behavior. What kind of adjectives? Like clever, generous, good, kind, nice, selfish. So in this clause starting with it, that, these are often followed by of. For instance, that's very kind of you. Or you can say, it's very kind of you. Adjectives describing behavior directed towards others are often followed by to. I'm worried about people's being rude to me. So we can use after rude preposition of or to. So if we are talking about behavior, we usually use of, or if the behavior is directed towards somebody, we usually use to. Next one, noun plus preposition. Anything, information, nothing, something. After these nouns, we usually use about, if you want to say something about something. Excuse, explanation, ideas, in return, need, reasons, reputation, responsibility, goes with for. Change, decrease, drop, experience, fall, increase, rise. These nouns are usually used with in. Experience, knowledge, understand, followed by preposition of. Effect, impact, influence, plus on. And in association, experience goes with preposition with. So these prepositions, which we mentioned above, the prepositions can be used with, can be followed after verbs, adjectives, and nouns. Okay, in order to consolidate what we have learned, let's do exercises. Here, multiple choice test given for you. You should choose correct answer. The first test was done for you. Here given in the first sentence, I still haven't forgiven your. Correct answer is A, for your behavior in front of my boss. Okay, you have 2 minutes to do this task. As you are watching the video lesson, you can make pause if you want, and then you can continue doing the task. Okay, if you have finished it, let's check your answers. In the second test, here give an example. I'm going to talk to your parents about your exam results. We can say discuss, ask. Here, the correct answer is A, to talk to your parents. I'm scared of making a tool of myself when I give the presentation. Here, the answer is C. I'm very disappointed in you. I have made a real mess of things. So, you know the difference between astonished, concerned. So, it's incorrect answers. The correct answer is C, disappointed. 5. The new drug prevents the bacteria from growing. So it stops from growing, it prevents. So the verb prevent usually followed by preposition from. The correct answer is B. There are many things wrong with our society today. Wrong with. It's very generous of you to offer to help me. After adjective generous, so here, generous, it shows the behavior of person. The correct answer is A. After generous, here we should use preposition of. The president first became involved in politics as a student. In this sentence, the correct answer is B. Well, let's do the next task. Here, in these sentences, in 9 of these sentences, there is a wrong preposition, and underline each mistake and write the correction. The first one was done for you. There has been a rise in the number of people buying their own homes. Preposition here is used correctly. So do this task. You can do this task by pausing the video and just continue doing. Well, if you finish it, let's check this task. Compare your answers with these answers. Are you right or wrong? Here you can check yourself. In the second sentence, the preposition most is used incorrectly. Here we should use preposition between the emotional responses. In the third one, there is no need about a new school in this area. Here, instead of preposition about, we should use for. But in the sentence form, preposition is used correctly. We want the government to promise to make a change in the law. In sentence 5, preposition to is used incorrectly. Here, after the verb love, we should use preposition at. What about 6? I have decided to apply to that job in the newspaper. So, as we know, preposition for is used after the verb apply. Professor Ho has a good knowledge about his subject. In sentence 7, preposition about, instead of preposition about, we should use of. Okay, next one. I'm afraid I broke this glass in accident. So you see here, an accident is used incorrectly. We should use by accident. My cousin, my husband's staying at my cousin while he is on business in America. You see here, instead of preposition at, we should use with. I gave him one of my paintings in return for his help when I moved house. This sentence is correct. 11. Why do governments always insist in doing things? After the verb insist, we should use on. When I was in school, I did much more sport than I do these days. So here we should use at, position at. Okay, next task. Fill in the gaps in the conversation with a word from the box and a preposition. Here given a dialogue between teacher and student. Look through and try to find what words are missed. You should find the words and then you should write preposition with these words. You have about 3 minutes to do this task. Well, let's check. Now you can compare your answers, you can check yourself. Here you can see the answers, correct answers. The second one is used bad for the third one effect on, for could depend on, for fixed one obsessed with, true for, worried about, choose between and rely on. That's all for this lesson. I hope you enjoyed this lesson. Let's review. Today we talked about prepositions. We did listening task. We talked about the usage of prepositions. We talked about verb plus preposition, noun plus preposition, and adjective plus prepositions, and then we did exercises. I hope all of you have learned about prepositions. I wish you good luck in your studies. Bye bye.